Yo, how do these guys have so many, like, pretty good players on their team?
Hey, Burns just got it. Listen to him.
Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge and powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships, presented by Bet365. We've got Bailey, we've got Rudo coming to you, as it is an off day for the Colorado Avalanche, but they gave us plenty of news to talk about. I want to get into all of the signings that the Avs have done, not just in season, though we will talk about those a lot, but some of the off-season ones, and just how successful the Avs have been with some of these signings. It is beyond my expectation how much success we've seen out of pretty much everyone the Avs have signed, from Brindley, who we've been heaping praise on for weeks, to Marty Necas signing his new deal and immediately being extremely effective, to Victor Olofsson as an offseason guy, or a Brent Burns. Is this about as good as C-Mac could have done, now knowing we're 20% of the way through the season?
I think it's severely underrated considering the quiet offseason that the Avs had.
Yep.
Getting an Olofsson done, getting a Brent Burns done, and seeing how they've performed. I mean, I'd maybe like to see a little bit more production from an offensively minded Brent Burns. Maybe that's not the role that Bednar wants from him. I personally love to see that. But seeing what Olofsson's been able to contribute, seeing what Burns has been able to do, seeing what these signings, or at least guys who have earned extensions, have done so far, I don't know how you do much better than that.
Yeah, I'm saying it is crazy good work. The one I wanted to focus in on first and foremost, though, is Scott Wedgewood with the game yesterday. We didn't really get to talk about it too much. Wedgewood extended for an additional year at $2.5 million for next season. How much of this was likely to happen anyway, and how much of this is Scott Wedgewood has just played too well and earned another year in Colorado?
From what Bednar kind of mentioned to us yesterday, it has a lot to do with his play so far. Like that just kind of solidifies what he's meant to this Avs team and gives him that reassurance that, you know, if he's performing like this, he can do it for one more year while an Ilya Nabokov goes and develops. The expectation is that Nabokov will be in North America next year, no question. But Bednar really... he doesn't want to throw him into the deep end immediately. Allowing him to go into your farm system and develop a little bit, get some time before putting him into an NHL situation, I think is the best thing you could do for a guy like this, who you're looking at to be a franchise goaltender for your team. And giving him a year to do that while also holding on to Scott Wedge seems like a nasty piece of work.
There is... and I don't mean this as a bad thing. I think it is genuinely a good thing. But I think the Colorado Avalanche value a backup and third-string goaltender more than most teams. Mm-hmm. And some of that is just their own experience with goaltender injuries over the past half-decade. Pavel Francouz went 6-0 in their cup run for them. You watched them have one of the worst tandems in the league for the first 2 months of last year. That included a young, inexperienced goaltender in Justus Annunen. And it would not be surprising to think that Bednar and the Avs front office have a little bit of distrust in saying, do we really want to go into next year with Blackwood and a guy who has played 0 games in North America? I mean, he'll probably come over in April and play a couple, but...
imagine how much pressure that puts on a guy like Mackenzie Blackwood.
Right. You're stuck with a starter that you have to ride at that point. And it's something the Avs have absolutely done in the past, but this feels a little bit like, hey, let's keep ourselves a little bit more secure with our goaltending depth here. We don't have to put ourselves in that situation. And if Ilya Nabokov plays your socks off in the AHL and you have to play him over Scott Wedgewood, that's a pretty good problem to have.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, multiple winning teams in this organization isn't a bad thing to have either.
It is
but
not. By the way, Eagles the best team in the AHL right now.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty well.
I mean, props to them. Nichushkin, heck of a get for this team.
He looks like a monster down there.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
I'm excited to see him. I mean, inevitably, I would think we see him in an Avs jersey at some point with injuries and the like.
Cale Makar did get reassigned to
Yeah.
the AHL, but possible we could see Nichushkin this weekend. I'm not confirming that or anything. I don't actually know, but Bednar did say, like, I don't know, we got a lot of guys we want to take a look at.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. If you need to play Nabokov over Wedgewood, so be it, fine. I don't foresee that happening unless you've
Probably
got a
not.
big injury situation.
Yeah.
Just because of, again, how well Wedgewood has performed. First goaltender to 10 wins in the league.
Crazy.
As a backup.
Right.
Again, I feel like I have to reiterate that point. As a backup, it's incredible seeing how he's performed. And Bednar kind of harped on that a little bit during his presser and saying, like, that was a huge part in being able to get this deal done, making sure they have that reliability, knowing if, Mackenzie Blackwood's having an off night, you can rely on a guy like Scott Wedgewood to get the job done, and you're not, like, there's no trust lost there.
Yep. It sounds like Wedgewood may even play Sunday, so still a lot of trust there from the Avs coaching staff as they work Blackwood back in slowly. A lot more to talk about, but given that Wedgewood is the newest signee of the Avalanche, or extension-y, I don't think that's a real word.
We can make that a thing.
We do have the interview with Wedgewood from yesterday, so let's hear what he had to say about the contract and staying with the Avs.
What's up, dude?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Scott, congratulations.
Appreciate it.
How's it feel to sign that extension?
No, it's awesome. Obviously, I was hoping it was just like, in the back of my mind and things. We had talked about it in the summer, and then season started, and obviously got off to a good start, and conversations were having, and I was trying to keep it in the back of my mind and just go to work and play for the team and things like that. But, obviously done on paper now, and obviously really excited about it.
You've been with a couple different teams. What excites you the most about being with Colorado?
Just a chance to win, obviously. Had that with Dallas, and then went over to Nashville, expecting it to be there too. And tough situation at the start of for the team there, and then got traded here, and it's just been a perfect fit from getting here. Been warm, welcome from everybody, top to bottom, from Kroenke down to the people who cut the ice here. It's been just a whole family type feeling, and I try and integrate myself with everybody, and it's just been a place that my wife and I felt at home with. So. Obviously, just a great hockey team. All those guys in that room, a lot of beers for putting me in this situation and things like that. But it's just been a good fit since I got here.
How excited is your wife?
Really excited. We were talking last night. It might have happened, so I haven't even had a chance to. She'd probably find it on social media before I can call her. So we got it done right before skate started, and then obviously coming here. So I haven't had a chance to really talk to her. But last night, there was a few things to finish up, and if we got there this morning, it was going to be done. So. She's probably blowing my phone up, but parents are in town too, so it'll be really cool going home and seeing everybody after this.
You said that this was something you had discussed or wanted to do in the summer. Has this start kind of tempted you to kind of see what's out there, like in a starter's role, or was this always just where you wanted to be?
Honestly, the start, it makes you think, and then I think if I'm a realist and look at it from all sides, right? So started to play well, and it's like, what could be if you really want to go down that path. And I was, my wife and I were sitting there one day, and I was like, honestly, if I'm around the league right now and you're looking at a team or a spot that you want to go to, or you have a chance to play with a really good team, and, with Blackwood being a 50 to 60 game guy and getting, 30 starts, I want my situation as a situation that I'm in, 33, haven't really been a starter, haven't been categorized as a starter, always want to be, it's never out of the question, but it was just a thought around the whole picture. Like if I came here, from the outside, it's a chance to play 30 plus games, chance to be on a really good team, chance at winning. So when you put it into that perspective, it's it's probably the best spot in the league to be a 1A, 1B with Blackie and everything that comes with it and being here. It's a perfect situation. So kind of made that choice on it a lot easier.
33 years old, like you've been on good teams like Dallas as well, but 33 years old, your numbers are off the charts last year and this year. Like what has worked so well for you here?
The team, honestly, I think my game's developed. I've gotten a lot smarter. I've obviously experienced more and understand what works for me and what doesn't. But playing behind a a contender. For what we consider ourselves a really high chance team of winning it. It's it's fun to play behind some superstars, and they're not coming at you, so you get the benefit of them on your side. But you have to do your job. It's not like every game is going to be 10 shots all from the blue line. You have to make saves and do everything like that. But I just think since I got here and the way it all kind of started, and talking with UC and Blackie, the confidence that the team's given me just to go out there and fit into the room and kind of joke and not feel like it's live or die every game. I've played on teams at the bottom of the league, and it's like if you don't show up and you give up 5, it's the end of the world. Or here if you make a mistake early, we can score a goal and ease you back into it. So there's just been a really calm feeling back there, and one, it's a little bit of being experienced, and 2, you have a team that has a chance to win every night, and that's a real big confidence builder for a goalie to get out there and be like, I don't technically have to be perfect. I want to be, but you can also get away with a few mistakes on this team, and it's really just kind of eased me into just controlling my mind and controlling myself out there.
So that's all stuff on the ice with the team. How big of a difference does it make just for you day to day in your personal life to have, like you said, an ideal setup, a team that you like, a team that you have a chance to win, where when you leave the rink you don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff? Yeah, no, it's honestly huge, especially with a kid at home now. It's like you go home, and before it was you'd sit there and I'd think about it a lot, and now it's like she's all I think about going home, and we have another one on the way, and there's a lot of life stuff that's happening as you get older, and it's obviously super exciting, and you think about money and things like that and all that, and you start painting these what if pictures and where you want to go and do and everything. So just go home and have a good situation. Everyone's healthy, it's all you can ask for, and we've really fit in. I was at Trader Joe's last night, and a guy walked up, and we talked goalie gear for 5-10 minutes, and he was just like, "This is the coolest thing ever." And it was just, a random guy in the meat section at Trader Joe's. So, big hockey city. The fans have really, taken to me. I've been able to be my, my personality and show it, and the wedgie chants and all that stuff here. It's, you can't not feel like you fit in and feel welcomed by everything. So, yeah, we like the outdoors. We love the walks. I mean, the weather here and everything, situational wise, it's been, like I said, a perfect fit, and starting to obviously be home.
You said on TNT Tuesday that you memorized the lines of all your opponents and their handedness. How long have you been doing that?
Something I started in Dallas. They had Ben Bishop would come in as kind of like an advisor, and he was really big into just videoing every goal that had been scored by the opponent within that week or whatever his setup was, and it was trying to just how much info is too much and how much helps you. And it was just one of those things where I always felt like if I got scored on backdoor and there was like a pass that got made to a one-timer and he scored, and you look it back and you kind of always go like, could I have had it, should I have had it, or there's no chance. It's just the way you break it down. And there's times when it's like, okay, a guy passed it to me one time, and it's like, if I would have known he was a righty half a second sooner, I would have made an adjustment. And it's like you get caught in some of those situations. Like even take last game, that Carlson goal, he's a lefty in front, they go behind, hit him quick, and it's like as I turned my head, I was a little bit slow to the play, but it's like he's a lefty, I don't commit to my right post, and it's like I should have known it. But you can't be perfect as much as you want to be, but that's kind of where I try and develop that mentality to give as much information to myself as possible. Where you'll see goalies be like, oh, like they throw their head back in the air. It's just like, you look surprised, you were surprised, and if I can, eliminate that, it's one of the ways I kind of build confidence in knowing where everybody is.
Does Blackwood do that now too? Have you seen him do that?
I'm not sure. He's just being the net that guy's massive. So no, yeah, he's got different approaches. I don't know if he goes to that. Like the sheet's there, so if he looks at it, he looks at it. But we haven't really communicated that much on it. He's a different style, but he reads the game really well and things like that. But he's a little bit more of a boxing frame where I feel like, not that I'm small, but I like to play at the top of my paint and use my feet a lot more. And to do that, you have to be maybe half a step ahead of what could happen next.
There's a lot of leaders and I'm sure vocal guys in that room, but are you someone that you felt that you can kind of settle into being a leader and impart some of this wisdom on some of the younger guys? Yeah, I find that as a goalie, you're muted a little bit, right? Like you can't really yell at them for any reason on the forecheck or the back check, or they turn a puck over. Like I've always had the mentality that even if all 5 of our guys fall and they pull the goalie and it's 6-0 and it goes in on me, and the team's really good. Like there'll be a turnover and guy will come over, hey, like my bad. I'm like, nah, like I cheated or played it wrong. Like we all take responsibility, and it's my net. It goes past me no matter how it goes in. Hits a shin pad on Burns and goes top corner in that one game. And he's like, I'm like, I cheated too. Like it doesn't. It's just we're all respectable of it. But I think my favorite thing in the room is just blending the top and the bottom of it, whether it's money or age or. One guy likes hunting, one guy likes video games. Like I just feel like I can wear a lot of hats and communicate in all facets there, and just be someone that if you got a question or a life issue and it's not the top of the board, you just want to talk. It just feels like that
goalie position and you're a little weird. So it's more that than I feel like it is like the hoorah and, amp guys up. I feel like, I'm happy. I'm always there and a bright smile, and, you can trust me back there. I'm not going to cause chaos. So it's not like you got to look over and be like, our goalie's psycho. Like, we're worried about it. That's kind of the approach I have.
Last one's for Scott.
Author Rebecca Yoros is in the building tonight. Have you finished the fourth wing series?
Finished? No, I got like 6 hours of the audio of the second one. So just had a nice chat with her and stuff and got her process. And she's got a little bit of the goalie mindset, the way her process goes too. She's got a whiteboard and sitting there and her eyes are going. Even the way she explained it, she looked like me on TNT. So it's nice to see other people get obsessed with their jobs too.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys.
I wish I was as social as Scott Wedgewood. We do need to take our first break of the show here, so let's shout out some of our sponsors. If you like buffalo wings, you got to get to Fire on the Mountain. It's Denver's favorite local wing joint. They have 15 super flavorful, made from scratch sausages, all the way down from mild, where I live, to people who actually like spicy stuff, insanely hot, and they have everything in between. They also have incredible craft beers and killer cocktails, $5 beers on Mondays, and happy hour all day Tuesdays. If you haven't been to Fire on the Mountain, you gotta get in. They're even an official green restaurant. They have vegan options, awesome patios at each location, a little bit of everything to get in with them. You can also try their insanely hot El Jefe challenge. I'm not trying that because I'm a baby, but you can get in on it. They boast the happiest, most overeducated, overqualified employees in the service industry due to their generous benefits. You can grab those $5 pints on Mondays and happy hour all day on Tuesdays, and they now offer delivery from their Wash Park store. So try the best wings in Denver. You can even get them at the DNVR Broncos tailgates or visit their spots in Highlands and Wash Park. Once you've got your Fire on the Mountain wings, make sure you also go get your tickets to your next sporting event with Game Time. You can make sure you get great deals by downloading the Game Time app, using the DNVR code. You get $20 off your first purchase that way, but they save for you in a ton of other ways too, whether it's the last minute ticket deals, the section selector, or you can even just search for the tickets you want, and the Game Time Picks feature will filter out all of the junk and only show you the best tickets for the best prices. They even guarantee it. If you find tickets cheaper somewhere else, they'll reimburse your account 110% of the ticket price. They also show you the all-in price. Everything is included. Know your total up front, so there's no surprises at checkout. And of course, you can download the Game Time app today to join over 15 million people that get their tickets through Game Time. Even if it's for things like concert and the theater, Game Time has you covered. Remember the DNVR code for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Tap Ticket Go. Download the Game Time app today. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Continuing the conversation about these signings for the Avs. Do you have anything you wanted to wrap up on Wedgewood, Bailey, or should we move on?
No, let's get into it.
Obviously, Brindley has continued to be a wild success. And the conversation I wanted to have with Brindley is not necessarily continuing to heap praise on him, though he certainly deserves it, but a 2-year deal for him at under $1 million. How much of the work that Chris MacFarland has done this season and this past off season, can we say he's setting the Avs up for long-term success? I mean, certainly he's setting the Avs up for short-term success. They're trying to win a Stanley Cup right now. But has what he's done helped push the Avs and maybe open that cup window for a little bit longer? I
would say so. I would think. From what this looks like to me is, again, you see a mindset where there's not a lot of turnover in the offseason. You're confident in almost every single thing you built at the trade deadline last season.
Yep.
You go into this season rolling with that and seeing how much that's worked out for what you've built on top of an already steady lineup just kind of proves that Chris MacFarland really does, like, while maybe some of that trust is differently viewed from Bednar to MacFarland really likes what he's seeing from this group, and being able to take a chance on a guy like Brindley, getting him to sign for the team-friendly deal that he did, I think is a great piece of work from him. And seeing what they're retaining as far as maybe some draft picks go and not having to expend any of those to fix what's not broken, I think is huge.
Yeah, It's an interesting conversation, and we're still too far away from the trade deadline to really dig into specifics here, but it's assuming reasonable health. Obviously, if you get injured, that changes the math on a lot of things, and Nichushkin week to week, by the way, we'll cover that in a little bit. The Avs trade deadline this year is set up to be a lot more about the Avs finding luxuries instead of solving problems.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's been a while since the Avs have had the opportunity to approach a deadline like that. There aren't the 9 trades in season last year all felt pretty borderline emergencies in some cases where the Avs had to do something. This year, it feels like the Avs are chilling. They can pick their spots on if they want to improve in certain ways and what type of players they want to target. Similar to the offseason, right? Where the Avs were willing to play things slow and pick up a couple of guys on good deals that they were specifically wanting. Obviously, Chris MacFarland is a conduit of the entire front office, right? The analysis, the other people in the front office, from Sakic as president all the way down to their smallest scout, all deserve a ton of credit here. But how much credit does MacFarland get for creating the culture that the Colorado Avalanche have?
I mean, he's given this team the foundation that it needs to fire on all cylinders the way that it has. I think it also speaks volumes, the fact that, you know, we've seen years past where draft picks have seemed a little sparse.
For sure.
A lot of people talk about the farm system for the Avalanche being one of the worst in the league. And if this is the worst in the league, by the way, like, I'm not mad. But
it might, I mean,
it might still be, but again, you're talking about a system where they're performing very well at the AHL level. So I'm not exactly complaining. But seeing a lot of that turnover to get this team to where it's at finally gets them into a steady position where they're not risking a lot of that. They don't have to risk a lot of that here for the next year or two.
Yep.
They can kind of ride with a team like, I mean, you've got Jack Drury to worry about. You've got a Victor Olofsson to maybe worry about with expiring contracts, one of them being an RFA. Those are nice little pieces of business you'd like to get done. But if, like, that's really the only thing this Avs team has to worry about. And that's a lot of what Chris MacFarland sacrificed, you know, past development for. Like, you're not getting super high draft picks. You're making do with what you've got there. You're working with what prospects you have in the system, but now you're setting yourself up for a point you don't need to sacrifice a lot of those draft picks, so you can use that to build that system back up. And if that's the way that this is working, I mean, that's a smart move from a GM to solidify a much more open window for a way more elongated time period.
You know, obviously aging curves are a thing that are going to play a factor in the Avs' long-term success window. If guys fall off the aging cliff, there's not a ton the Avs can do about that. But when you look at the Avs lineup, at very least when you look at the forward core, Nathan MacKinnon signed for 4 more years. Brock Nelson has this year and 2 more years after that. Gabe Landeskog signed for four, if you include this year, 4 more years. You just extended Marty Necas for forever. Val Nichushkin, including this year, has 4 more years. The only top 6 signing that you're really looking at is Arturi Lehkonen, and he has another year on his deal after this one, too. The Avs don't have a lot of work to do when it comes to the forward core. We're talking about Jack Drury as your 3C is the most immediate one. I think Victor Olofsson is probably going to price himself out of Colorado if we're being honest about it, so not super worried about him coming back, but the work that MacFarland has done has created some security for the Colorado Avalanche moving forward. Yeah, they have the big Cale contract coming up in a couple of years. That's obviously going to shake things up a little bit, or really actually don't think it will shake it up because
it's Cale Makar.
The Avs are going to do whatever it takes to keep him, but they'll have to manage the financial side of that, which shouldn't be as hard given how the salary cap is exploding right now, but it's a fine balance to strike. It's kind of a high wire act to try and win right now and also continue to set things up for success going forward. And I want to give C-Mac the credit there for there's been plenty of criticism of him over the last couple of years. I think some of it valid, some of it not. But where the Avs stand right now, it's hard not to think that he's done a fantastic job.
And I think it's so easy for fans and even us sometimes to look at the immediate instead of, what this does down the road. I know especially 2 years ago, like I'm sitting here looking at some of these trades, seeing him at least try to give away every single last draft pick the Avalanche had in order to build
I wish they could have got rid of all of them.
Team.
We didn't even have to cover the draft then.
But it's like he did all of that to see a lot of that reward still producing today in an Avs team. Like some of that loss from some of those assets gained have given the Avalanche the opportunity to become the steadfast team that they are today.
And as it stands right now, the Avs assets really aren't that thin. Sure, maybe they're a bit thin on actual prospects, especially with Gavin Brindley graduating to the NHL immediately. And yes, they are missing their first, their second, and their third in this year's draft. But in 2027, they have their first and 2 seconds, and then they have all of their draft picks in 2028. So, yeah, they've spent some of those resources, and you do expect them to spend more at this deadline to some extent. But it's not like we're staring down 3 years of no first-round picks at the present. They still have, depending on who you ask, they're going to want them to use those picks or they're going to want to spend them to trade for assets. They still have ammo to go do whatever they feel like is the right move to make.
And that's if they need to. Again,
sure.
Like I always view the trade deadline as one of those things. I'm not a huge fan of splashy moves at the deadline. Like, unless there's a dire need for a splashy, like, big guy,
not on
big
Team
name.
Sidney Crosby, then?
That's more so for the vibes than anything. I'm not looking at that as like, oh, Sidney Crosby's going to save this team. What needs saving, right?
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, that's more of a vibe thing for me. But I look at the trade deadline as okay, you have maybe a hole on the second power play unit, or you're lacking a little bit of scoring depth in your bottom six, or maybe your bottom pair needs some revamping. That's what the trade deadline is for me. Like the off season, a lot of times it's a gamble to sometimes wait on players to see if they make it there.
Of course.
But it's oftentimes not worth it in my eyes to sit there and spend on what could be a rental and then your whole team's back in the hole they started in, and you're maybe gambling with a thin market versus a potential McDavid market in a couple years. I don't know. That's
the thing with rentals that I've always said is if you're going to pay a big price for a big rental and it's actually a rental, you better win.
Yeah.
That cost, you better win. And C-Mac has done a pretty darn good job of converting rentals into not rentals. Brock Nelson, a perfect example of that. And I know they need more out of Nelson, not the conversation for today's show, but they paid a hefty price to get Nelson, and then were able to get him signed and keep him in Colorado, which it just changes the math a little bit of what that trade is when you talk about a guy that continues to play in Colorado. But I think the other side of this too, and again, I'm not going to bring up specific players because we're way too far out, but when you look at the assets the Avs have and you look at what they have, when I talk about luxuries, what I mean is, okay, let's say the Avs aren't comfortable with their 4C position. They don't necessarily have to go out and go trade for a 4C. And not to say that Jack Drury hasn't been good enough. I think he's been a great 3C. But you can live in a world where there might be a slightly bigger piece the Avs could go out and get, slot that piece in at 3C and move Jack Drury down to 4C. And how much of a luxury is that to be Jack Drury's a competent 3C and now he's playing your 4C is probably one of the best 4Cs in the league. And all of a sudden the Avs depth goes from already great to like unstoppably
astronomical.
Good. Right,
yeah.
Exactly. So there is some opportunity for that to happen. Of course, you have to make the right moves at the deadline. Things have to go a certain way. But it's an opportunity that could be there for Colorado this year. We do need to take our second break of the show, though, so let's hit up a couple more of our sponsors. Our presenting sponsor for this show is Bet365, and they're more than just that. They're an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche. They offer early payout offers for your NHL bets where you can get in, and if your team gets up by 3 on a straight bet, you get paid out immediately. You don't have to wait for the end of the game. You can sign up today with the DNVR 365 code, put $10 in your account, bet $5 on anything. You don't even have to hit the bet. Win or lose, you get a bunch of bonus bets, specifically $200 in bonus bets that you get to play with. It's like having free money in your account to go make some bets. If you hit them, well, that free money turns into real money. If you miss them, it was free money anyway. You're not too worried about it on that front. So make sure you get in with them. Tons of parlay boosts and other bets that you can get involved with on Bet365. Mentioned that payout offer already. $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. You don't even have to hit that $5 bet to get the bonus bets. Remember to use that DNVR 365 code. Of course, you must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Of course, terms and conditions apply. And maybe you got a little bit of extra money from Bet365. You can make a down payment on a new Toyota. Go check out your local Front Range Toyota stores. They have a vehicle for everyone, whether it be trucks, sedans, SUVs, whatever you want. They've got it covered. 17 different vehicles with all-wheel or four-wheel drive, so when the roads get bad this winter, you have peace of mind in things like the Epic 4Runner. They also offer more low and zero-emission vehicles combined than any other automaker, 16 different hybrids to choose from, even hybrid trucks like the Tundra iForce Max. So, like I mentioned, a vehicle for everybody. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota Raplin Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, not just an official partner of DNVR, but an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche as well. Toyota, let's go places. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. Bailey and Rudo coming to you live. I think there's been an interesting conversation over the last couple of years with the Colorado Avalanche locker room, and some of this is Gabe Landeskog has been out. Some of this is pieces coming in and out of the Avalanche, but I guess I'll just ask it in simple terms. Have the Avalanche built a tighter-knit locker room this year?
I would say so.
Okay.
I think the situation, I didn't join the team until a couple games, or the beat until a couple games in last year. But even seeing the growth from when I joined to now is, I mean, I hate using the same word over and over again, but astronomical. Like, the difference is crazy. Seeing what Blackwood and what Wedgewood have done, especially now that they've kind of ingrained themselves in. Yeah. Like, it's easy to call yourself a good locker room guy and then, go in and do it and you already see the change immediately. But being able to build off of that, build the relationships you have, and seeing how that affects the other guys. You see a more lighthearted Nathan MacKinnon in some cases, which is really hard to do.
I mean, the anger still flares up sometimes.
No, absolutely. But I feel like he seems more in a good mood than in recent times. And I guess it's easy to be where this team is at, right? He is a very
being the best team in the NHL helps. Yeah.
Right. Like, he's a very emotionally driven player. If the team's not doing well, you often see different versions of MacKinnon. But seeing what a guy like Mackenzie Blackwood, like Scott Wedgewood, even like a Jack Drury coming in and doing what they've done, they seem a lot more cohesive. And not only does that help for, good locker room vibes, that's always great, but seeing what that does out on the ice too. We've talked a lot about how the chemistry just looks to be on a different level this year. And a lot of that has to do with some of those pieces and what they're doing off the ice, I think.
I definitely think that's part of the conversation for the Avs for sure. And of course, winning makes everything vibe better, but it does feel like there are some quality connections across the team, whether it be line mates or, guys off the ice, and Gabe Landeskog being that leader in a sense for the Colorado Avalanche. You're the person in the locker room, so obviously you would know better than me, but it certainly, the vibes are up, not just because the Avs are good, but because the Avs are connected.
Yeah. And I think it speaks volumes too, knowing that a lot of that is coming from the crease.
Yeah,
A lot of
for
that's
sure.
coming from a Scott Wedgewood and a Mackenzie Blackwood, who are not out there skating every shift with the guys. Like, they can't yell across to McKinnon on the other side of the ice, be like, "You're doing great, buddy," or like giving advice in those situations. And knowing that that room is still feeding a lot off of what a guy like Scott Wedgewood is doing.
Yeah.
Or Mackenzie Blackwood with some of the jokes that he cracks. I mean, his conference yesterday talking about Kelly comes to mind, and seeing that they can kind of joke around with each other like that, and that does translate the way that it does from that far back on the ice. It's really cool to see.
Let's circle back and talk about maybe not Nathan MacKinnon directly, but MacKinnon sitting at the top of the NHL with the points lead, obviously having an incredible season. I'm curious about the rest of the league, though. You go look behind Nathan MacKinnon, and all of a sudden, well, there's a 21-year-old kid. Oh, there's a 19-year-old
Connor
kid.
McDavid is back in second, so I will, or at least based off points. So
For now.
So,
Edmonton
but
keeps
after
pulling off
that,
ridiculous comebacks. But you have a Macklin Celebrini. You have a Connor Bedard. You have some other young kids that are really putting up the numbers. Is it finally here? Bailey, is your generation finally taking over the NHL?
they're a little youher than I am. I don't know if I can call it
much younger.
not that much.
You're closer
but
to
still.
them than you are to me. I put it to you that way.
It is really fun to see a lot of these guys who, I mean, some of them were first round draft picks for a reason. A guy like Connor Bedard, who was slated to be the best of his generation, even when a guy like Macklin Celebrini came along. To see him performing the way that he has for a Chicago team that is, better, but still not great.
They're not there yet, for sure.
Macklin Celebrini, who is doing whatever he can to drag San Jose from whatever depths they're in. And
He's
and
trying
doing,
real hard.
He's trying really hard.
There's a lot of dead weight there.
But yeah, to kind of see that merge, like I'm just looking down, like seeing them among names like a McDavid, like a McKinnon, like a Mikko Rantanen, like a Willie Nylander, David Pasternak even.
Yep.
Like that's fun to watch and think about, like if they're performing that way now at 19, 20 years old. Imagine what that looks like 7 years
They've got
down
more
the road.
gas in the tank
and
for sure. Yeah.
like they're keeping up and pacing guys, or at least trying to pace guys like McKinnon, McDavid. They haven't hit their prime.
Yep.
That's, I mean, for just the general everyday, I pay attention to the league type hockey fan. That's so cool to watch.
Put you on the spot.
Oh.
Who do you like more, Bedard or Celebrini?
For the vibe, like if we're talking personality
open-ended,
vibe,
yeah.
I got to give that to Celebrini.
All
If we're talking work ethic and drive and the way that they've kind of dedicated themselves to the game, I have to give that to Bedard. I love like watching a lot of his highlights from before he got drafted and then seeing how he was able to translate that immediately to the NHL level has been really cool to watch. It's the most exciting thing for me watching that Chicago Blackhawks team. Watching how the team is kind of building around him too and supporting him in the way that they have. Obviously, again, he's leading or at least among the top 5 leaders in the league. Like that's really cool.
I'm a Celebrini guy all the way.
Fair.
Celebrini's the truth. I think he's awesome. Not that Connor Bedard isn't awesome also, but
No, I think I lean more towards the Celebrini conversation. Again, just vibes, but also, again, doing what he's doing to pull San Jose from their depths and trying to at least give a really bad team a decent
Some
chance
hope.
to say, like, we don't completely
we're
suck.
not the worst. We're not Calgary.
We don't completely suck. We just kind of suck. But that's fine.
It's hard to say who will come up in the league later or whatever, who's going to be called during this year, that next year. But do you think like a Celebrini and a Bedard will kind of follow the lines of the Connor McDavid, McKinnon conversation, Crosby, but like that kind of pairing that the NHL always likes to do between a couple of guys that are roughly the same age and just comparing them for the rest of their lives.
I don't think there's enough of a personal connection there for that kind of thing. I think it's fun to compare rookies. Like, I think kind of looking at numbers based on how good these two guys were heading into their respective drafts. But I don't think it becomes a McKinnon. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Again, it is really early to say, just because we've seen a lot of McDavid's years as an NHLer. We've seen a lot of Nathan McKinnon, and we can sit there and say now that they are generational talents. Like, these guys do not grow on trees. They don't come around every, couple years. I think we'll be able to better gauge that maybe in 4 or 5 years.
I mean, that is the McKinnon storyline, right? There were no comparisons between McKinnon and McDavid in McKinnon's first 5 years. He had a really good rookie year, but then it was a handful of down years before Nathan McKinnon really became the Nathan McKinnon that we know today. So,
but that's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
agreeing.
Yeah, we'll know in like 4 years whether or not this is maybe another run-of-the-mill top 6 forward versus a Nathan McKinnon.
They've been elite for, not that their other seasons weren't good, but they've been this good for 1 month of NHL hockey.
Yeah.
So definitely very early on that front.
Does a guy like Leo Carlsson pacing with these guys surprise you at all?
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit fake.
Okay.
Not that Leo Carlsson isn't really good, but he's not the caliber of shooter that he's currently shooting this season. That's going to come back down to earth.
Yeah.
I think much like the Anaheim Ducks are outperforming maybe how good they actually are this season. I expect that to slow down. Carlsson currently shooting 24%. Just not sustainable in any real way there are maybe a handful of shooters in the history of the NHL that have shot that well across the course of their careers.
Leo Carlsson is not one of them.
No, I do not believe in Leo Carlsson being that guy. 16% shooter, 15% shooter, maybe. And that's like pretty good. Okay. Is he going to be, I'll put it this way. If Carlsson continues to be, just call it a point per game guy, we don't have to be that specific about it. The Anaheim Ducks turnaround, while I don't think it's this good, is probably coming a lot quicker than maybe people like myself expected. Guys like that can be a difference maker in a lot of ways for you. Cutter Gauthier has been great there too. Some of the trades they've made are starting to look real smart. So credit to them there. Since you're bringing up some of these guys, I guess technically they aren't rookies, but I am, I joked the other day, Gavin Brindley for Calder. Obviously not going to happen.
No.
But who's more fun? Matthew Schaefer or Ivan Demidov?
I'm tempted to give that to a guy like Demidov just because of the Lane Hudson conversation.
It's really fun.
Yeah, it's like having that duo together. It's like this is probably a really big stretch of a comparison, but it's like watching a rookie Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar type situation where you're watching two of some of the best rookies in their respective rights. I don't know. I think the Matthew Schaefer storyline is kind of cool. I have a feeling that's who's going to end up winning it, but I love the Demidov conversation.
Yeah, it's interesting because Demidov is playing on a team that's pretty good so far this year, and in Montreal, and the Islanders are meh this year, and Matthew Schaefer's doing a ton of work for them.
No, but again, that's what makes it so much more interesting too. Is Montreal's got a lot of production coming from other places.
Yep.
And Demidov's still pacing a lot of those guys.
And excitement factor, Demidov is crazy fun to watch. Yeah. I mean, that guy can have a lot of fun with the puck. I'll put it to you that way. Whereas Schaefer, not that he isn't really good, not that he isn't deserving of the Calder potentially, but plays a not as dazzling game as he's a defenseman. So of course that's the case.
Right.
Also a statistical reminder here. This was true at game 10. It's still true at game 18. Cale Makar has more assists than any other defenseman has points. Still. 20% of the way into the season. He also has as many goals as only Matthew Schaefer has as many goals as a defenseman as Cale Makar does.
Cale Makar is currently 4th in the league in assists.
Yeah, he's top 10 in points as the only defenseman in the top 10 in points.
Yeah.
There is something that flies under the radar a little bit. I talked about this a little bit with McKinnon too because the expectations are so high. But Cale Makar is just kind of trucking along, has as many points as Marty Necas does on the season, is doing Cale Makar things in a little bit of a quiet manner. And to me, that's almost scary, where you're thinking, oh, if Cale Makar can start scoring on the power play a little bit more, we could legitimately be talking about an all-time NHL defenseman season.
I mean, point per game defenseman. I want to kind of go through the last couple games here. Buffalo, 1 point in the form of an assist.
Yep.
Anaheim, 1 assist. Vancouver, 2 assists. Edmonton, 2 goals. But, everybody was performing well that night.
That was an easy one.
The last game that he went without a point was Tampa Bay, and I just wasn't a huge fan of that.
He was pretty bad in that game.
Kind of bland in that game. But this is a guy, we're talking about a generational talent in Cale Makar, a generational defenseman, doesn't come along very often, who's kind of like, I don't want to say flying under the radar, but like he's not really showing up in the form of goals the way you're expecting a guy who just got 30 goals last season to do. Like he's racking up assists and very quietly climbing his way that way. And I think seeing how he's kind of stepped up. Once that scoring edge gets going, that makes an already scary defenseman look terrifying.
If I put on my glasses and go, well, actually, and you'd like look at the actual dictionary definition of generational.
Yeah.
I think the NHL probably overuses the term
probably.
a good bit.
Probably.
I don't think there's any overuse when it comes to Cale Makar.
No.
He is that guy for his generation of defensemen. There is one of one.
No, this is why we keep saying, like, when that extension comes along. And I'm saying when, because the Avalanche are going to do anything they can to happen, or make it happen.
July
it's
1st of
check.
this year, it's a blank check.
And I can't imagine any other player, at least, there are not many other players in the league that teams will do that for.
No. Apparently, Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota, but that's about it. And McDavid.
I was going to say McDavid, and even then, that shocked the heck out of me.
Right.
But it just proves my point. Like, there's not many players you do that for. And the way Cale Makar is performing right now, not scoring as many goals as maybe you'd expect a guy like that to do, who does tend to push up on the blue line a little bit more. But he's racking up assists, and that's how he's pacing all of defensemen. That's how he's not just top 10, top 20. He's the only defenseman within the top 20.
It's not close.
Skaters.
It's not remotely close.
Like, not paying attention to, like, I guess you have to pay attention to position, but, like, he's the only defenseman among all forwards.
Yeah.
Like, in the top 20. That is insane.
By the way, the Avs have 3 players in the top 10 scorers right now: Makar, McKinnon, and Necas. Mm-hmm. I'd be just pointing it out. No real other point than that to make, but team might be pretty good. Yes, we've given a ton of credit to their depth, and they deserve it. Mm-hmm. But also that those top 3 guys also pretty good. Yeah. So
it's. This team, again, I don't know how many more different ways to say that this team is really fun to watch. And knowing that a lot of the top-end talent that this team possesses is performing the way that they are with help. Like, it's with help. Like, it's not just these guys who are standing out on any given night for this team. It's almost everybody on any given night in their own respective roles. Again, you see the fourth line pop off and do things of their own. Second line looked incredible last night. And any given night, like, this is not just the top guys being who they are supposed to be for this Avalanche team.
Absolutely. They need to be that good, especially as we can bring up the injury report here. They're starting to get guys back like Sam Girard, just came back, but Logan O'Connor still out, not expected to play on this homestand, so maybe still a little bit of a ways away. And now with the Nichushkin injury, it sounded more optimistic than negative, but is still listed as week to week, so is going to miss some time. Given what we just saw against Buffalo, given the depth we've talked about with the Avs, are my glasses a little bit too burgundy tinted to think the Avs can not just survive without Nichushkin, but thrive without him?
I don't think it's not a stretch at all,
Okay.
I would say. And that's not any sort of knock against Nichushkin. I love the way that he has performed so far this year. Has been incredible for that second line. One of the more noticeable guys while Nelson's been trying to find his game. But this team is kind of built on a next man up mentality. You kind of have to be with how last season went. And that's kind of the mentality this team starts to get into. And so, yes, you miss Nichushkin. This is also something, like, you, again, talk about mentality, talk about things they're used to. They're used to Nichushkin missing stretches of time.
It's true. Pretty common.
Yeah, it's not an uncommon occurrence for Nichushkin to not play 82 games in a season. So that next man up mentality is already kind of there, I think, with that. You always hope, but it's always there.
Yeah.
And they've learned to thrive in those situations, regardless. Like, you see how the team stepped up in Sam Girard's absence.
Yep.
You see how the fourth line's been able to perform without a really trusted bottom six guy like Logan O'Connor. And they've still thrived. It's not a stretch by any means.
They're that deep, they're that good. I guess it's good to be an Avs fan right now.
Maybe that wagon comment wasn't so far off.
Maybe. Look, the Avs are currently the best team in the NHL. They currently run the longest active win streak in the NHL, which is only 5, not crazy. But you take a look at the stretch of 10 games that they're in, and yeah, it's 5 direct games won in a row, but they are, also 7-0-1 in this stretch. So that's what, 15 out of 16 possible points. Already a better stretch of 10 than the first 10 of the season was.
Yeah. No, and you talk about the experimentation period too. And it seems like they came out of that with swinging with what they've got. They fixed what they needed to fix. The points that we were hammering on so heavily in that first 10 game stretch are things we're really not talking about as much anymore. If we are, it's like, do we still need to be talking about this?
Yep.
And if so, why? And a lot of times that answer I've noticed with us is usually no.
Yeah.
So which is a really exciting trait for a team like this. You're talking about a team that ideally should they're built to make a deep run.
Absolutely.
This year. And I'm not just talking about ending regular season on top and going deep in postseason. Those two both can be true at the same time. This team through this next stretch of this second stretch of 10 games has shown so many traits of what it means to be a championship team.
Yep.
And I think, you talk about, sustainability, are they frauds? Is this, they're kind of fake. I don't think that is this Avs team at all.
I don't think there's any fakeness.
And I'm trying to come at this with the most unbiased lens possible. And in talking with people that I have outside of this market, the Avs look scary. And it's not because they're on a hot run now, it's going to fall off later. They genuinely look terrifying.
Yeah.
And they plan to look terrifying a month, 2 months, 4 months from now.
It's all about consistency in the NHL. We've harped on it so much, not just for the Avs, but league wide. And what the Avs are doing on a consistent basis, they're not going to score 9 goals on a consistent basis. They're not even going to score 6 goals a night on a consistent basis. But dominating teams at 5-on-5, playing a defensive game where everyone on the team is willing to step up and make that play, whether it's blocking a shot or taking a hit or whatever it might be. Those are the type of things that you look at and go, okay, this is repeatable. The Avs can do these things every single night. Mm-hmm. And they have yet to really lose a significant number of games. I know they had a 4-game losing streak, but again, overtime losses. They're doing this in ways that don't make you go, especially when you compare to some of the other top teams in the league right now. Mm-hmm. Dallas, winning a ton of games, outskilling teams, deserve to win these games, but you look at them early, they dropped 7 on Montreal on like 30% shooting, and you go, well, that's not really sustainable. You're watching them survive on the power play when they're getting their heads kicked in at 5-on-5 some nights. Well, that doesn't really feel sustainable. You look over to the other side. Apparently, Jack Hughes just got hurt, so New Jersey's done. Forget it. I don't actually know. Hughes might be totally fine for all I know, but
still not a great blow.
I think you see Anaheim is a great example of a young team that the young and we're too stupid to know any better, and we're just going to go out there and have fun and play some exciting hockey.
Yeah.
The Avs have the exciting hockey, but they have the intelligence too, the veteran experience to say, we know when it's time to start making the right decisions in a hockey game, when it's time to start holding down the fort a little bit. And like you mentioned, I think through the first 10 games, there was a lot of mistakes that you wanted to see the Avs clean up despite the success that they were having. And while it's not a perfect hockey team by any stretch, the number of stakes has trended down significantly over these last 8 games.
That's what the first 10 games is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think any team who comes out in the first 10 looking perfect is a team I'm immediately checking off as like, this is not a team I'm expecting to be where they are currently in 82 games.
Yeah.
Like things are bound to change. You grow as a team, you learn as a team. Things start to shift naturally. It's just what happens. But and that is true of this Avs team. This Avs team was by no means perfect through 10 games. They're nowhere near perfect through 20. I still think, guys like Landeskog, like Nelson, like Bednar are right. There's this is a great team, but this is a team that still has things to work on. And
for sure.
That's just kind of it is what it is.
But I think you believe in the Avs to keep taking those next steps forward, right? Mm-hmm. This is a team that, call it the hunger that they've been calling it, or call it the will to win, whatever you want. You can see that fire in the Avs this year, that they're going to push forward. And when we get to the playoffs, they're going to have to go out and win and earn it, and who knows what happens when we get there. But right now, there's no reason not to believe in them.
Yeah.
We've officially made it, chat. It's not an NHL season until there are crypto or porn bots in our chat, so we're back, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Woo. I feel like they've already kind of hit Twitter, so seeing them migrate to YouTube. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's how you know that channel's growing when you've got bots in your chat. Confirmed. By the way, consider liking and subscribing. That helps us out a ton. If you really want to support us, you can become a YouTube member. Our supporters club gets access to all the emojis you've been seeing in chat. You also get behind the scenes access to some of that stuff. I know we're doing a video here on that soon. I forget what Alyssa told me we're doing, but we're doing it. You can go over to our website, thednvr.com. Consider becoming a diehard. Great option to not only get access to all of our written content like AJ and Bailey's amazing pieces, but you get a free shirt when you sign up to become a member for the year, and you get a bunch of other discounts like here at the bar and things like that too. It's all awesome. By the way, come to the bar. Come hang out. Have a good time. Drink some beers, watch some Avs hockey.
I want to meet some of you. Come say hi.
Come say hi. If you want to say hello to us, come to the bar and come say hi. We're here for every game and a lot of days in the afternoons for podcasts. So we would love to see you come out. We would appreciate that. Lots of good stuff. Check out today's newsletter, by the way, by J Mike too, talking about the Avs being a wagon, because that's what they are.
That's exactly what they are.
Jump in with that. You can get your Denver sports news every single day. I think that's just about it. Bailey, any final thoughts on the Avs or the NHL?
No. Nothing from me.
Well, make it just that easy then. I guess final thought I will leave you with, Avs do have a couple of days off here. It's another stretch of schedule where they're not playing a ton, but they are set up to play a bunch of winnable games over the next week and a half, 2 weeks. You want to see them convert, though. The Avs have put themselves in a good position. Dallas on their heels at only 4 points back, even if the rest of the Central has fallen off. Doesn't matter how good you've been all season. The NHL is a how good have you been lately league. So Avs got to keep it up.
Avs have a really nice stretch of games to prove that they're not a team that plays down to their opponents.
Don't do that. Just win.
Just win.
It's that easy, baby. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate all of y'all. We are the DNVR Avalanche Podcast presented by Bet365, and we'll be back on Sunday for the game.
We all silly like the mayor.